The longer you stay involved with narcissists, the less confident you become. And this is because self-confidence is in fact environmental. This creates a problem for those of you who are dealing with narcissists within your family, or a narcissistic spouse, or narcissists within your friends, or even narcissists in the workplace. Wherever you're dealing with narcissists, your self-confidence will in fact suffer. So let's talk about in this message how to break out, break free, get out from the oppression of narcissistic abuse, and get into an environment that's going to promote your self-confidence. Let's talk. My name is Kevin, and this is The Royal We. Now, before I continue, I want to let you know that I'm here to support you. Down in the description box, you'll find access for one-on-one appointments with me. In addition to that, I have a brand new life coaching program where I teach every day, Monday through Friday, live with questions and answers, all for only $49 for an entire month. You cannot afford to miss out on this, especially those of you who are trying to start a brand new life and regain your self-confidence. It doesn't matter when you get started, just head on down there, click the link down below, get enrolled, and I'll see you in class. Now we're talking about self-confidence and how self-confidence suffers and gets destroyed and demolished anytime you are being oppressed. And narcissistically abusive relationships are in fact oppressive. What does this mean? It means that narcissistic personalities, which are characterized by grandiosity, they put a ceiling, if you will, as to the maximum height that you can go as far as how much your opinion matters, how much you can shine, how funny you can be, how much joy you can experience. Yes, they even put a limit on that. And this is because narcissists feel threatened by anything that goes past a certain threshold. Really, narcissists want to push you down further and further and further to the point to where your self-confidence is gone. And by the way, your self-confidence is what allows you to experience joy in life. Your self-confidence is what allows you to experience laughter, to be all you can be, to express your opinions, to express the things you like, to buy the things you like, to do the things you like. This all comes from self-confidence, being everything that you were called to be in this life, which threatens narcissists. So they put that ceiling and they squash you down. How do they squash you down? Through demeaning and devaluing comments, through making fun of you, or worse than that, for attacking you. Yes, they'll attack you for even things like your joy. They'll take your joy and they will attack you, saying that you think you're better than everybody else. How many of you have experienced the hostility and anger of a narcissistic person when you were experiencing joy? And they needed to squash that. This is called oppression. All right? It's attempting to oppress your self-confidence. This is not a new concept. It's not a new thing. Narcissists have been oppressing people and demolishing self-confidence since the beginning of time. I'm going to share with you an ancient biblical story and give you a new way to look at this. It involves Moses. I've used the story of Moses many times, but Moses, when he went to lead the people out of Egypt, how many of you know that the mixed multitude of people, the Hebrew people, the people who were going to become a nation, Israel, they were oppressed under the narcissistic authority of the Egyptians and the Egyptian government. What did this look like? Well, it looked like this. The Hebrew people couldn't have as much joy as they wanted. The Hebrew people, the mixed multitude, couldn't be everything they wanted to be. They were told what to do every day. They were told how happy they could be. They went and did their slave work and then were sent back home. And this was their everyday. They just went to work, went back home, ate their food, had their wives, and they were told that this was living, and they couldn't stand out above that. They couldn't shine. That's what narcissists want to do. They want to rob your ability to shine, and as a result, eventually you just get used to it. But you don't just get used to it. When you get used to it, you're actually in dangerous territory because it means your confidence is being shot. That's what's really taking place. When you're starting to get used to narcissistically abusive behavior, really what's happening is your confidence has now been suppressed to the point to where it's almost gone. When you lose the desire to shine, when you feel like you can't be everything you're called to be, you can't wear the things you want to wear, you can't talk about certain subjects, you can't have an opinion, you can't have a voice, you have to be careful what you laugh at, you have to be careful about what your hobbies are, what your interests are. When you start to sense these things taking place and you're complacent, meaning you're kind of okay with it, it means your confidence is shot. And that was the narcissist's goal. Why do narcissists want to take your confidence away? Because your confidence threatens them. Because your hobbies threaten them. Your peace threatens them. Your joy threatens them. Anything that causes you to shine in this life threatens the narcissist. You might be saying, how? Why does it threaten them? Well, because you can leave with all that stuff. Your joy can take you to great places. Your hobbies and passions can take you to great places. Your confidence can take you to great places. So narcissists work to squash that. They don't want you to go anywhere, so they put a cap on it. Now watch this. It's not easy to get your confidence back. It takes work. As the story goes, when Moses led the ancient people, the Hebrew people, out of Egypt, it took them 40 years to get to the promised land. Do you know why it took that long? There's all kinds of theological answers out there, but I'm going to tell you what I believe to be the absolute truth. Because in that time, according to the ancient literature, God, the higher power, needed to rediscipline them and reteach them that it's okay to have self-confidence. This is why, if you read the book of Leviticus, for example, it's a very difficult book to read, because all it is a bunch of sacrifice animals in this way, make clothes this way, get precious jewels and stones and put them in the clothing, build tents this way, take an ark and outlay it with gold in this manner. Why? Why did it have to be so specific, and why does it seem so boring to read the book of Leviticus? Because this is what it is. Because in this book, basically what's happening is the chapters being written of the people relearning self-confidence. We can do this. We can take gold. We're good enough to take gold and make an ark out of it. We're good enough to dress ourselves and put precious stones in it. Previously, only the Egyptians could do that while we were oppressed and enslaved, but now we can do that. It took 40 years for these people, step by step, to start to regain their self-confidence. There's a lot of people out there, by the way, that say that God is not about materialism and God is not about looking good. And by the way, Christians have really done a pretty bad job of also making sure that people who follow God look homely, and it's all about the hipster look, ripped jeans and flannels, and I was a part of that too. We all look like a bunch of train hoppers out there, you know what I mean, talking about how much we love Jesus. I'll tell you what, man, if you go back in the Old Testament of the Bible, Solomon was mentioned as not only being the smartest and most wise of all people known to humanity, but he also was the most beautifully dressed and adorned person throughout the Bible. In fact, Jesus referenced him, saying Solomon was so wealthy and so brilliantly dressed, yet he doesn't compare to the flowers of the field. But the fact that he used Solomon in the comparison tells you that Solomon was dressed to impress. Nothing like it, right? And Solomon was given that gift by God. Go figure. How do we today get the hipster, ripped jean, let's all look like beggars Christianity? Where did that come from? Anyways, self-confidence. By the way, this also goes into why a lot of Christians have no self-confidence. Because they don't feel they can dress better than looking like a homely beggar jumping from one train to the next. So anyways, the point is people have been wrestling with trying to regain their self-confidence after being oppressed since the beginning of time. God had to work with the Hebrew people to regain their self-confidence. It took them 40 years. In my personal journey, I'm going to share with you my personal journey. When I left California, after dealing with narcissistic siblings in California, my confidence was shot. I felt like I didn't have a voice. I felt like I wasn't worth listening to. I felt like I didn't matter, even when I started the Royal We. And I want to share with you how I've been progressing over the past 5 years. So when I started, if you go back and you watch some of my old videos, you'll start to notice something. I talk a little, but then I'd try to do something fancy like get a drone, put music into the scene, all this distracting stuff. Why was I being distracting? Well, because I didn't believe that what I said was good enough. I struggled because I didn't have the self-confidence, because I came out of an oppressive environment, oppressive siblings that told me my voice didn't matter. So I was trying to distract that fact, and it lost a lot of people. People watched the Royal We channel, and then they were saying, Kev, we like what you're saying, but you gotta stop with the drone shots and the music. We just wanna hear you, man. And I couldn't believe it because I didn't have the self-confidence. Not only that, but if somebody were to walk by me when I was making a video and say, oh, you look like a YouTuber, what do you talk about? I'd say, well, yeah, it's nothing fun. You know, look, it's one of those things where if you need it, you'll find it. Right? Why? I wasn't ashamed. I just didn't have the self-confidence. And it's taken me 5 years to get to this point now where I'm out in every park with my t-shirt on. Right? Doing my best to look good. And when somebody comes and asks me now, hey, you look like a YouTuber, what do you talk about? I help people out of abusive relationships. It's called the Royal We. My self-confidence is coming back. I'm now proud of my voice again. Proud of what I'm doing again. But it had that gradual change. But the first thing I had to do was get out of the oppressive environment. I had to get away from the narcissistic people. And so do you. You will not gain your self-confidence back until you are out from under the oppressive relationship.